Remember the mask mandate? This is what we need to mandate. It's a must, ladies and gentlemen. It's a must. Saturday morning here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Beautiful Saturday morning. I want to make this video real quick. This has been on my mind. I've been talking lately to a lot of people that I disagree with and that vehemently disagree with me. We couldn't be farther apart. My goodness. In one of my last videos, my analog versus digital video, there was a comment underneath there. You can go read it yourself, but I'm going to put it here on the screen. It's going to be in 3 parts because it's a long comment. I want you to go ahead and read that and pause the video. Okay, now that you've read that, I'm pretty sure everybody that's watching this video completely 100% disagrees with that, right? There's nothing in that comment that I agree with besides I love you, brother. Okay. I put that up because this is a guy I love, man. You know, I was in the military with him for a long time. We slept in the same, you know, barracks. We went overseas together. You know, this is a guy that I really love. And I'm sure you guys can relate. You have people that you love that think this way too. Now he's a very, very extreme, far over there person, right? I'm not making this video to make fun of him or anybody else. Right now we're losing the war against these evil tyrants that whole job in life is to keep us divided. And it's working, ladies and gentlemen. It is working. And we need to fight against that. I'm going to give you an analogy, right? This is why people think the way they think. Everything in life is about perspective, right? Let's take a man standing at the bottom of a gigantic mountain, right? Just a huge mountain, right? And then you have another person at the top of the mountain. And then you have a little ant at the bottom of the mountain, at the bottom of the guy's feet, at the bottom of the mountain, just right next to him, right? So if you're looking at the perspective of each person, everything looks different, right? If you're the guy at the top of the mountain, you're looking down at the person at the bottom of the mountain, and then you ask them, hey, what does that person look like? That person at the bottom of the mountain looks like a little ant compared to the relative view of the person at the top of the mountain. And if you say, hey man, do you see that ant down there? You're talking to the person at the top of the mountain. I say, I don't see any ant. Then you ask the person at the bottom of the mountain, if he looks down, he'll see an ant. It'll be hard to see, but he'll see it. But if you ask him, hey, you see that person at the top of the mountain? They say, no, I barely see him because he's way up there. Maybe a little dot or something, even smaller than the ant. And vice versa, the person at the top of the mountain look down and the person looks like a little ant, and they definitely can't see the ant. My point is, it depends on what perspective you're looking at a specific thing. That's how you're going to view it. If you're a person that puts your political party before your country, you're not going to look at it in a perspective of what's best for the country, right? For instance, I don't care if you're on the left or the right. You know, I know I pick on leftists a lot because they've been very, very extreme. But some right-wingers have been extreme too. Like, for instance, I don't watch Fox News anymore. You know what I mean? They've done a lot of things that I don't like because I used to be a Democrat for years. Most of my life, I was a Democrat. I grew up a Democrat. Grew up in New York State. And I would everything, my perspective was from a Democratic perspective. But then once I woke up and realized, man, I really love my country, and I don't think this party is best for my country, you do a natural progression of, oh, if I'm not a lefty or a Democrat, I must be a righty, right? I must be a Republican. And I thought I was a Republican for a little while. Natural progression, right? Then I was like, wait a minute, I'm not a Republican because these people are blah, blah, blah too, right? If you watch the mainstream media, the corporate media, these people are bought and paid for by the people that are running the show. Okay, they just make it seem like, and I'm going to get into this in a more detailed video later, but basically they make it seem like it's right versus left, right? Like Fox News is the good guys, Democrats is the bad guys, or vice versa, right? All these news outlets and medias, they're coming from a biased standpoint. They're not coming from what's best for the country overall in a nonpartisan, you know, just what's best for the country. And they're coming from a perspective of, this is the opinion, this is what we want, and this is what's best, and this is the way to do it. And that's not right. And the problem is, people will watch from a left-wing agenda or a right-wing agenda and base all of their thoughts on what's going on in a certain situation based from that perspective, whether you're at the bottom of the mountain or the top of the mountain, or you're the ant, because the ant looks up and sees that human being, they're gonna say, wow, that's a giant human, because that's from the ant's perspective. You know, both sides think, if you ask somebody, oh, this is all you got to do. I ask people just to see where they're at. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this country right now, man? What do you think is going on? They're like, oh man, Biden is screwing this country up. Man, he is blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I know where he's coming from. Then the other person, I say, hey, how do you think this country's doing? Oh my God, Donald Trump. We got to make sure he gets arrested. He's a fascist.
Wrong.
He's a racist.
Wrong.
We got to make sure he goes to prison. He does not become...
Google Donald Trump Iraq, and you will see the dozens of sources which verify that he was for the invasion of Iraq.
Wrong.
The president again. We got to make sure this country's so messed up and blah, blah, blah. It's funny how the people on that side, when they talk about Donald Trump and how bad he is, we're 3 years into Joe Biden's reign, right? And they never want to talk about Joe Biden and what he's doing, because they think he's doing okay. And the reason why is because they watch CNN, what I like to call Communist News Network, MSDNC, NBC, nothing but crap, CBS. You know, most of it is ran by the left-wing media, because the corporate elites run that the most. It's mainly left-wingers, but don't get it twisted. The right-wingers, you know, Fox News, I call Sean Hannity, neocon Sean. That guy's no good either. He sounds good. If you're a Republican or you love the country, it sounds good because he's talking bad about the Democrats, who are the enemies. And if you're a Democrat, the Democrats are talking about the Republicans like they're your enemy. It's all making sense to each side, right? It's all about perspective. So my point of this video is this. If you know someone that's on the other side of the aisle or whatever, just know that they're coming from a different perspective than you are, right? But here's my point. We have to find common ground, right? Now that is very, very difficult right now in the sense of trying to get us together, because Democrats and Republicans, they both think they're patriotic. I know a far leftist that loves this country. He just wants to do things a different way. He doesn't want Trump in office because he just feels like Trump is not good for the country.
Tim, on
So we have to find common ground with these people. First thing you do is, if you want to be on the same page as this, or try to be on the same page. Now, again, depends on who's watching this. If you're on the left side and you think somebody is MAGA, you're not going to change a MAGA person's mind. Someone that loves Donald Trump, you're just not going to do it. And if you're on the right side and you know somebody that hates Trump, we call those people that have TDS. You know, that's what a lot of people call them. You're not going to change their mind, right? But even so, the people in the middle or whatever, or even some of them, I'm not saying try to change their mind, but don't talk about your differences, because that is what they want. Let me say that again. Don't talk about your differences. Now, that's a tough thing to do. It's not easy, okay? I know that. It's not an easy thing to do, especially in today's environment with all the things going on. But I'm telling you right now, nobody wants war. They really don't. They say they do from their comfortable living room chairs when they're listening to neocon Sean and Lindsey Graham and Nikki, the warmonger Haley. You know, they're telling them, oh, just attack them, do this, do that. Meanwhile, and I'm gonna say a saying to you, never listen to someone who wants you to do something. They ain't gonna be the one that's doing it. Nikki Haley ain't gonna be in no war. Her family's not gonna be in a war. Neither is Lindsey Graham. Neither is Neocon Shawnee, who gets paid $30 million a year or whatever he makes. They're just doing that to make money and enrich the military industrial complex and all these companies underneath that make the money off these weapons. Nobody wants war, okay? So you got to find common ground with the people that you disagree with and stop looking for your perspective and trying to change their mind, because you're not going to do it, okay? As a nation, as our 340 million people we have in this country, we got to stand together against this shit. And who is it against? We're not talking about Democrats and Republicans. It ain't about that. And I've told you that a million times. Someone who is on the left or the right side, from the other person's perspective, they'll think the other person's evil. They're not saying, the Democrats are not saying I'm evil and I'm against good and vice versa. They're not saying that. What they're saying is I'm good and you're evil. We have to wake these people up and show them who the real evil is. And who's the real evil? Those are the puppet masters, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I can't go on YouTube and say these names out loud because this video will be taken down, you know, but you know who they are, okay? And if you don't, do some research outside the mainstream media, okay? We have to wake these people up and tell them, like, look, man, it ain't about Democrat and Republican. What I suggest people do, and a lot of people don't listen to me when I say this, but what I suggest people do is come from a United States of America standpoint. Think about your family. Think about your religious belief, whatever that is. And think about what's best for your land in this country. And you just got to ask yourself, being a Republican, is that the best way to go? And alienating half of the country and saying all these people are evil? And vice versa, being a Democrat and saying all Republicans are bad? That's an oxymoron to say that and call us the United States of America at the same time. Is it not? We have to stand together, right? United we will stand, divided we will fall. And that's the truth. And that's exactly what they want. And we cannot let that happen, ladies and gentlemen. And again, to all my brothers and sisters in the military, regular civilians of this great nation, all the people have died for us. That's why we have a Memorial Day, Veterans Day, all these things. We have to honor those people. Those people died in wars for us. Farmers, carpenters, these people during the Civil War and the American Revolution. These people died for us. We celebrate the 4th of July for a reason. Remember that. Don't forget that. Fly your flag proud. Be a proud American. Don't separate the red versus the blue. Unite and stand together with the red, white, and blue. I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. God bless this country. God bless your family. And pray for us all. Peace and love, guys.